Okay, next thing to look at is macros. So what we need to do is look at recording a macro and making sure that it's only going to be working in a specific template. Once again, I'm working on a document that's based on a template. I prefer to do that because then I know I'm not going to be doing anything to my template that I may not want to do. For example, putting in some extra formatting or deleting anything that I'm not aware of. What is important though is that the template that I'm basing this document on needs to be macro enabled. Otherwise you're going to go through all the steps of recording your macro, and then when you stop recording it, it'll jump up and it'll say no, you can't, because it's not macro enabled. So I'm just show you that the template that I'm using here is, I've called it macro enabled sample, and it's a .m. So I know that it's I can record macros in this particular document because behind it is a macro enabled template. What I'm going to write a macro to do is I want it to go to a specific place in the document, and I've done that. I've got a bookmark over there because I want the macro to go to that bookmark. I want it to then insert some text. I want it to go to the end of the document, and I want it to insert some more text. Now you might be thinking, well, if you're just inserting text, why not do that using a quick part? You could, but what the macro is going to do is it's going to also have some navigation, so it's going to be positioning the cursor where the text needs to go. Okay, so to start off with, then I need to record my macro, which I can either do through Developer and record macro, or if I have the icon showing down on my status bar, I can use that. So give it a name. I must make sure that I specify that I want to store this macro in the template, and I can make a decision on how I want to run it. So do I want to run it through a button, which I could put on the quick access toolbar? Do I want to run it through shortcut keys? Whatever decision you make, you can change it later. This one I'm going to do with the button, with the keyboard. And my shortcut key, I can use anything I want. So I could do something ridiculous like Control C, and as it tells me, well, that's actually assigned to copy. Not going to stop me. If I do, it will then run the macro in preference to the copy, so that will take precedence. Not a good idea. So what I'll do is I'm going to run this one with an Alt-T, and again I need to be very careful about where I'm going to save my changes. It must be in that particular template. Click on Assign, and what that does is tells me that it's assigned this particular keystroke combination to this macro, and close. So what I wanted to do, I want to go to that bookmark which I've called top of document, so that positions my cursor in the right place, and I want to insert some text. Now it's a good idea to plan your macro, to think about what you're doing. If I wanted to do any formatting, I should set the formatting first, because if I typed in the text and then I wanted to select it, well, you don't have mouse movements when you're recording a macro. So I would have to do my recording with my shift key and my arrows, which is probably not the best idea. So I'm going to set my font, do a few things, and I will put that up in the top. And as you can see, I have made a mistake with my capitalization, so now I have to select it, which is what I didn't want to do, and I'm selecting that by holding down my shift key and my arrows, and then I'm going to capitalize the whole thing. Okay, so next thing I want to do is go to the end of my document, so I'll do a Control End, and once again I think I'll set the font. I'm going to set my margins as well for this one. end of my macro, so I need to stop recording. Now I want to make sure that I save my template, so Alt F11 to go to my editor, click on the particular template and save it. I'm not going to worry about saving this document, but now when I create a document that's based on this particular template, I can put any old text in here. And I'm going to run my macro, which was Alt and T, or if I've forgotten what my shortcut key was, I could go Developer Macros and run it that way. So I'm going to run it, and you can see that what it has done is put the text at the top and put the text at the bottom. And it has missed the color. Now, can you remember when we did this in class why it didn't take the color? And the problem is when you're recording a macro, if you want to assign color, you cannot use these buttons over there on the ribbon. I would have needed to have done it using these font colors. So I forgot about that, but anyway, that's really good that I did that, because that will make it easier for you to remember not to do what I've done.